Hello, my name is Sadie Shelton. Today is November 29th of 2021, and I'm here to do my report for Case Connections on Unit 4. So the first case that I chose was Case 2, and this starts off describing three different scenarios of people who have various amino acid metabolism deficiencies. So scenario 1 talks about a baby girl born full-term vaginal delivery, no family history of amino acid deficiencies. Upon her newborn screening test, it was discovered that she had a deficiency, or she tested positive for branched chain amino acids. So those are going to include valine, isoleucine, and leucine. So at the top of this diagram, those are the amino acids we're going to be talking about. And along the pathway, there is some sort of deficiency that is having problems, which is why her tested positive. So it could be either one of two scenarios. So the first scenario it could be is when you first have these branched chain amino acids, you transaminate them to a keto acid. So this means that you completely remove an NH3 group to turn it into a keto acid. This involves pyridoxal phosphate, also known as vitamin B6. So, as a vitamin that this baby could take, or as a child, or as she grows up, I would recommend that she takes vitamin B6 because that's pyridoxal phosphate, and that will help with the transamination of the branched chain amino acids into keto acids. So once you have a bunch of keto acids, these keto acids are then further metabolized and oxidized by a branched chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase complex, which is what happens right here. And so I believe that she either has a problem. I think the enzyme deficiency is this dehydrogenase complex, and then a vitamin that she could take is vitamin B6. And with that, with this scenario, none of these amino acids become essential because the body will still produce them. It's not like they're being produced into another amino acid, and that's how sometimes amino acids can become essential. So in scenario 1, that is my discussion. So next we are going on to scenario 2, which is 69-year-old woman presents with a very long history of lower back pain. She also comes in with these blue-gray spots on the insides of her ears, and she has spots inside her eyes. She also has aortic stenosis, so hardening of her aorta. So my guess, upon some further research, this sounds like alkaptonuria, which is a problem with tyrosine metabolism. So I think that the amino acid that is deficient or having problems being metabolized is tyrosine. So alkaptonuria happens when along the process of tyrosine metabolism, homogentisic acid, the enzyme is homogentisate oxidase, becomes deficient, and it isn't further able to break down tyrosine all the way into fumarate and acetoacetate. So when it can't break down, it becomes the homogentisic acid can't be broken down, can't be oxidized. It builds up, you get this pigment, and you get those symptoms that old lady had. This metabolism deficiency, alkaptonuria, does not make tyrosine essential, and it doesn't really have any B vitamins involved, so I would not recommend this elderly lady to take any vitamins as a to try and help her alkaptonuria. So scenario 3 is a 4-day-old infant is in my clinic. She was on the smaller side. Vaginal delivery was normal, but her newborn screening shows that there are high amounts of phenylalanine. It says that her phenylalanine level was 6.6, and it's normally in the 1 to 2 range. So almost 3 to almost 4 times as high as phenylalanine. So what I would call this is a phenylalanine metabolism deficiency. So one of the very first steps of phenylalanine metabolism is it is converted to tyrosine. So it goes phenylalanine to the amino acid tyrosine. This involves the enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. So this is definitely, I think that phenylalanine is not being able to be converted into tyrosine, and so this is causing a buildup of phenylalanine in the baby's bloodstream or in the body because it's not being able to be converted. It's stopped. It can't go from phenylalanine to tyrosine. So I think there's a deficiency in phenylalanine hydroxylase. So phenylalanine hydroxylase has a cofactor of BH4. So I definitely think that cofactors help enzymes, and so I think taking vitamin B4 or vitamin BH4 can potentially help maybe what phenylalanine hydroxylase works to try and break down a little bit more of this phenylalanine to tyrosine to kind of decrease those serum levels. What's interesting is because phenylalanine turns into tyrosine, if phenylalanine hydroxylase becomes deficient or defective, then you're going to have not enough tyrosine, and then the amino acid tyrosine is going to become essential, and you'll have to take in more tyrosine-rich foods. So that is my breakdown of case 2. So the next case, the second case I'm going to talk about, is case number 3, the 47-year-old man who comes with great pain in his right big toe. So obviously, pain in your right big toe, we immediately think gout. And then it asks some different questions about what could be causing this gout. Paper, make sure I cover all the topics. So the first thing they wanted to know, the best explanation for the presentation of gout. So first of all, I feel like we should talk about how gout happens. So purines, you form purines, and then purines go through something called purine salvage. So instead of just degrading all of them and turning them into a waste material, we try to recycle the purines and turn them into something else. So using PRPP, which is an enzyme that helps turn into purine. So we have purines using PRPP. This then turns into IMP, and then it turns into hypoxanthine. So hypoxanthine can then turn into some of these breakdown products. One of them, which is uric acid. So uric acid is what forms gout. So buildup of uric acid crystals in the joints. So you can have a joint with the big toe, your elbow, your knee. A buildup of uric acid. So if you have too much uric acid in the body, it can accumulate in the joints. It causes that inflammation. It's really painful. That's what causes gout. So we have gout because we have too much uric acid in the body. So they want to know if overproduction of purines can cause gout. So yes, it can cause gout. Say you have way too much purines. The more purines you have, the more purines you need to salvage or recycle, the more uric acid that you are going to have, the more the body's going to have to work at getting rid of that excess uric acid. So could this gentleman's gout be because of his overproduction of purines? Yes. Another option was the decreased salvage of purines. So I'm going to say no. I do not think this is why he has gout. If you decreased the salvage of purines, so you're not recycling the purines, you're going to have less uric acid. Less uric acid means a less chance of gout forming, or the uric acid crystals getting stuck in those joints. So it's a lot less. If you have decreased purine salvage, you're going to have a less likely chance of having gout. The third one was decreased urinary excretion of uric acid. So when we looked at this gentleman's labs, normal urinary uric acid, so the gentleman did a 24-hour urine sample, he peed in a jug for 24 hours, and then they analyzed the urine. So normal urinary uric acid output, I actually have, so usually about 75% of uric acid is in the urine. So normally you're going to have about 413 milligrams for 24 hours. This gentleman only had 215 milligrams. So obviously his body is not excreting as much uric acid in the urine as it should. So I definitely think that decreased urinary excretion of uric acid is contributing to the buildup, because if you're not urinating all this uric acid is in your body, it has to go somewhere. So it's probably a combination from the three options I have right now. I think it's an accumulation of either an overproduction of purines, you're eating too much purine-rich food, you have too much purines in your body, can lead to excess uric acid production, or your body, you have uric acid, but not all of it, not enough of it is being excreted. And I guess I should also mention that we also know he has gout because his plasma urate, which is a form of uric acid in the blood, it's usually less than 7, is usually a very normal level. His is 10.5, so definitely very elevated. We definitely know, yes, this is gout. I just forgot to mention that earlier. So then it turns out that this gentleman consumes 4 to 5 liters. That is a ton. A ton of normal soda, which is made with high fructose corn syrup. So once we heard that he's drinking multiple liters, large amounts of high fructose corn syrup, that I think is for sure why he has gout. So I'm going to explain a little bit about why fructose and gout are connected. So fructose, when you metabolize fructose using fructokinase, you use ATP. ATP is then converted into AMP, which is then involved in purine synthesis. So the more fructose you drink, the more AMP you create, the more purines you're going to synthesize, which then leads into more uric acid being excreted, being produced, being in the joints, the crystals, and excreted in the urine. So this gentleman, I would definitely recommend him to lay off the high fructose corn syrup soda, drink way less of it. 4 to 5 liters is an extreme amount, and hopefully he should see an improvement in his gout.